Howdy folks, and welcome to the Daily Coin. My name is Rory, and today is Friday, March the 31st, 2017, and I have the great honor and very distinct pleasure of welcoming back to the show Brad from Full Spectrum Survival. Brad, welcome back.
Thank you very much, Roy, for having me here and everyone for listening.
Well, I'm glad that you're here, and let's on March the 24th, 1 week ago today, you released a video called Tyranny, Google Censorship, Oppression, and the Slow Death to Internet Freedom. And in that video, that inspired me to write an article that I titled Pens versus Swords is Still a
Okay.
Thing. And I wanted to ask you, Brad, about the gray man. And how important is it to be a gray man in these relatively calm times that we live in currently, as well as in a SHTF type of scenario, grid down, something catastrophic or otherwise, where your camouflage becomes a key element.
Okay, well, good. Touching real quick on that video and on that topic, we are suffering from information tyranny right now.
Right.
Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, these companies have been allowed into power by the US government and by the Western governments of the world. They've been allowed to become a monopoly, the only guys in town, the people you have to turn to. And now that this has become so ingrained in our modern society, they're using it against us. We have massive censorship going on right now, massive control of the information that people are allowed to read and see. And they're wrapping it around this fake news agenda that they introduced in the 2016 election. So what we see here is a change, a shift in the way that the government, and especially the Western governments, manipulate the sheeple, the people of the world. And what they're doing is labeling everything that comes into opposition, everything that goes against the pro-Western grain, as fake news. And there was a university study recently that said if you give a populace real factual information, and then you give them fake information from a credible source, those people will revert to that quote unquote credible source to believe that to be the true information. So apply that to all of the fake news narrative that you see around the world, where you have real information, you have the real danger of things that are going on in the world, the Fukushima nuclear disaster, the US involvement in terrorist events, Pedogate and Pizzagate, all these things that need real discussion. And then a quote credible source comes out and says, these are fake news. And just like that university study showed, the populace, the sheep that are asleep at the wheel, go back to what they feel is a credible source. And they say, well, I'm not going to believe what this alternative source said. I'm going to believe what the US government, what the pro-Western mainstream media says. And that's being used against us. Google recently acknowledged that they have a team of over 10,000 private contractors whose sole job, the sole thing that they get paid by Google for, is to flag and censor what Google deems as fake news. You can go look this up. It's on all of the mainstream articles. Recent acknowledgement says that they have a team of people that all they do is flag fake news. Eric Schmidt of Google recently said that he wants to allow the Google algorithms to not just flag something as fake news, but to remove it from the Google search results altogether, to remove it from the YouTube search results altogether. And now what we're seeing on YouTube is alternative information. You've got your Alex Jones, which he has his pluses and his minuses. The plus is definitely that he's a bridge for a lot of people to their awakening.
Yes.
You have your other alternative outlets, and they are being attacked. My channel on YouTube is being attacked. Over 50% of the videos I put out become demonetized. And you say, okay, well, it's a video on YouTube. It's supposed to be free. That's okay. While that's true, there has to be a return of labor for potential fruit for that labor if you want someone to work in mass to bring information to a populace. So, what the agenda here is that they're taking away the possibility for alternative and free information to be fruitful when it goes against the pro government grain. So, if you put up a video that talks about an ISIS attack, not advertiser friendly. You say Trump has done this, non advertiser friendly. Anything that goes against this narrative is labeled as non advertiser friendly. There's been some speculation that YouTube's next stance will be to deem it as inappropriate and flag it altogether. So we are witnessing information tyranny right now. And to kind of wrap it back into what you said about becoming the gray man, there's a lot that needs to be said about the information that you as a person and I as a person freely give to this monopoly. Because right now, if you have a Facebook account, you have freely given to this monopoly your dossier. You have given them your manila folder that has all of your pertinent information in it.
Yes.
Unless you were concerned enough and thoughtful enough at the beginning to manipulate that information so that it couldn't be used against you. Now, there is still an alternative there. If somebody says, okay, well, look, I had a Facebook account, I deleted it, but of course, Facebook and the government still has it, and it has my high school I went to, my friends that I had, my phone number, all of this information. And if you had the app had access to your microphone 100% of the day, 24 hours a day, and would use the information that it got from your microphone to then give you ads. And to not think that that information was stored for other purposes would just be ignorant on our part in this day and age. So you say, okay, well, what can I do? This information's already out there. Now you can start to use this machine against those that would like to twist it against you. Make another Facebook account with your personal name. On the weekends, what do you do on your Facebook account? Well, instead of looking into the dangers of genetically modified foods, which would mean that you're an aware person, post that you're going to a football game. Post that you're interested in the newest country music song. Where'd you go to dinner? Put on there that you went to Red Lobster on Friday. All this information will now build a confusing dossier. It will build a black and white. And it will be less likely that the information that is found out there can be used against you. Imagine if you had two different online profiles that could be seen by the media, and one of them showed you as an alternative information, free thinking, free citizen of this world that was interested in all the things that matter. And then the other one showed that you went to football games, listened to music, paid your taxes, was a happy slave going to work every day. And for any reason, you got singled out and the mainstream media had to look you up. Which one would you want them to portray you as to the rest of the world? Personally, I would rather the rest of the sheeple in this world see me as a Red Lobster eating, double cheeseburger, football going, hockey watching, drinking on the weekend, bar fiend, because that's acceptable in our world.
Yes.
To be a free thinking, free citizen is not, because we are under the reign of a government. And a government's sole job in this world is to govern the people. And you govern those people by having them do just those three little things. You have them go to work, pay their taxes, and be happy.
No, not be happy. Not necessarily. Keep your mouth shut.
Well, that's what the antidepressants are for. So you at least, you're in a fog of happiness.
A big pharma-induced happiness.
That's right.
Well, I asked you about the gray man, and what you just described is exactly that, except you described it in parallel universes.
That's right.
Your real life and then the one that they want to see. the one that you want them to see, the one
Right.
that creates confusion. Once again, going back to camouflage. So that's your camouflage to your life.
Right.
And if you are walking down the street in a grid down situation or in an abnormal situation, you wouldn't want to be wearing actual fatigues or, real camouflage. You would want to be
That's right.
wearing the gray suit, be the gray man, because you would want to dress like everybody else. And what
That's
you
right.
just said is exactly that. And that's what inspired me about your video. It's like, okay, you and I, the people that are producing this content, have to adorn a new type of camouflage. And in some of your videos, you were doing that, Brad. You were your titles all, if it were words that you knew would be flagged, they would all be one string. There wouldn't be any
That's right.
spaces to where this word that I know is going to be flagged is going to stand out. It's going to be
Yeah.
tagged with these other words so that it doesn't. And
Yeah. So
that's what
YouTube and Google use something called regular expressions. For anyone who's not a programmer and doesn't know what regular expressions is, it's a very unique uh, programming language that allows computers to sift through information precisely and very efficiently. So regular expressions can search out different things that you're looking for. Like if you gave me a list, Rory, of 10 million email addresses in just a couple of seconds, and say this list had all this other information combined with it, and maybe they were in a comma separated file. So if you gave me 10 million email addresses with all of this information mixed up and combined, and it just looked like a scattered mess, I could use regular expressions to get just the email addresses out in just a couple of seconds. So YouTube uses this algorithm, Google uses this algorithm to sift through titles, sift through the tags, the descriptions, and even the voice, even the words that are said inside of the video.
Yep.
So when you make a video on YouTube, and everybody knows this is true because you'll see a video that says this has copyright information on it or copyright music. That's not because somebody at YouTube looked at it and said, "Oh, this is the newest song." That's because when you upload a video to YouTube, it picks apart the data bits of your video, and any voice it puts down into text, and that text is used with regular expressions to then find matches to other information. So even if you obfuscate the title, don't put any description and no tags, they're still going to find out what you said and flag your video. So, like you said, I'll use that against them. And I've tried to use underscores, I've tried to use all different uh, methods of confusion, methods of camouflage in titles and tags and everything. But the only thing that they don't so far find are mixed together words. So if I wanted to put out a video on London terror attack, I would put it out without spaces, just London terror attack. If I did London underscore terror underscore attack, they would find it.
Yep.
London backlash terror backlash attack, they would find it. Only all mixed together. And I'm sure that that's going to be something that goes away soon. Now, you said something real important. Walking down the street, and tell me if you want to come back to this in a minute. You said in today's world, you and I and all the listeners, as aware individuals, we don't want to be walking down the street in full tactical gear because then you are a target. You're a target to the police, you're a target to the military as they walk through the streets, and you're a target to other individuals that are aware but maybe have ill or nefarious intent. You want to be a gray man. And you'll see in my videos, my go bag is a canvas pack, regular light tan canvas pack that has within it all of the things necessary to survive. It's not tactical black, it's not camouflage, it doesn't have these Velcro patches all over it. It's just a regular canvas pack. The clothes that I'm wearing, that's my first line of shelter in a
Exactly.
disaster. The clothes that I'm wearing do not look tactical, but they still are. They're going to be light and wicking material. My shoes aren't tactical boots. They are hiking boots. And so walking down the street, I just look like an average person with a college backpack on. But inside of that pack, I have all the things that are necessary for me to survive. I have my shelter in the form of a sil nylon tarp. I have my bivy bag. I have my fire kit, my tinder kit. I have my water purification units, my cook kit, some food, and my weapons. So inside that bag, I have all of what I need, but it's not a 511 tactical suit, supreme, ultra cool looking bag, because I don't want to be the target. I don't want to have people look at me and say, I know that guy's got guns in that bag, or I know he's got something that's going to help me survive.
Right.
And I don't want the police to look at me and say, he's probably got a gun in there and I'm going to go give him a hard time. So I think that that's something important that everyone should do. Look at your own survival gear. Look at your own kit. And if you're just starting today, because we all just start, we're all learning all the time.
Right.
If you're just starting today and you're saying, this is true, I do need to get a go bag, start small and work on skills. Skills trump gear every time.
Every time.
Yeah, that's right. If my lighter and if my ferro rod breaks, then my skills allow me to go make a bow drill. My skills allow me to find flint and use the steel that I have to make a spark, to make char cloth, to boil water, to do all these things. These are skill based and they don't cost anything and they take up no space in your pack. And it's something that you can do with your family too. Get out there, and my kids know all of the survival information that I know, but they don't know that they do. They think that we're really good campers and we don't have to carry very much. And so that's just because we're really good campers. And so that it's not based around these are skills you have to have. This is just common for them, that they can go out and make fire. They know not to drink unpurified water. They know how to build a shelter, how to keep themselves, out of the elements. So you can build all of these things and no one will be the wiser outside of your pack.
And what I want to come back to the gray man and the YouTube censorship and the information tyranny that we're living under. The article that I wrote addressed exactly that. And another part that you did that inspired me to do this is what we were just talking about, is making London terror attack one word, no spaces, in
Right.
order to disguise what you're actually saying.
Right.
Somebody that has an IQ above 10 is going to be able to read it. So they're going to know what it is and what you're saying.
Right.
But the computer may not be able to read it at this point. It probably will within the next month, but
not right now.
But not today.
That's right.
So what I wanted to address is the actual language. If you go into a bank and you deal with this bank, they use a language that if you read their documents, it's like, good Lord, what is all of this nonsense? And you give
Right.
up. You just give up. And that's the whole point of the way that they're written, is to force you to either learn this whole new language or give up.
That's right. Yeah, it's a pay to play game. And lawyers are the same way.
Lawyers, exactly. But
Mortgage and deed information. Go
what
ahead.
I wanted to get at is, why don't we do the same thing? I'm not saying to censor what we're doing. I'm saying to adjust the language that we use, exactly like what you had done with London terror attack.
I
Make
think
those
that's a good
small
idea.
adjustments to how we write an article, the words that are in that article, the words that we speak during an interview like this. Because, like you said, if anybody out there in the audience has ever produced a video and uploaded it to YouTube, it goes through two stages. You have the upload stage, and then you have the quote processing, end quote, stage. During the processing is when they're reading everything. They're listening to it. They're they're looking at everything that they can at that point. And then as
That's right.
soon as it gets done processing, it goes through everything that you type. And
That's right.
speaking of typing, as you type, just so people are aware of how insidious the digital footprint has become, is that as you type, every time that your fingers push a button, it's being recorded. Every word that Brad and I are sharing right now is being recorded as
That's
we
right.
speak it, period. And then it'll be recorded again when this video is uploaded to YouTube, and then it goes into building the profile that Brad was describing just a moment ago. How does this tie into these people and these friends and those family and all of that? And it starts to build a picture
That's right. Of who you are.
of who you are and what you do and who you do it with and how many times a day you do it and blah, 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 right down the line.
That's right. And if you question that, keep these two things in mind. One, anytime the mainstream media looks to demonize a person, what do? They pull up all of the publicly available information and they twist it in a fashion, twist it in a manner that will paint a picture against this person.
Correct.
Anytime that the courts want to demonize a person in front of a jury, they pull up information that they don't even have to share where they got it from. They don't have to share how they acquired this information, and they give it to the jury. And if you question the ability, like Rory said, that what we're saying right now over an internet, over uh, a internet communication software, and what you're listening to right now, if you question the ability for that to be recorded and data sifted, you just have to dig just a little bit deeper into the computational power of server processing and understand that all of the data in our entire country, and no matter what country you're listening from right now, all of that data goes through one single hub or just a few hubs, depending on the size of your country and the population. And those hubs, due to the continuity of internet actions that have taken place, are controlled by the government of your country. And to think that they don't data sift every single thing that goes through would just mean that you haven't read all of the Snowden files. You haven't read the Vault 7 leaks to see that literally everything is monitored. Every single thing. Now,
Everything.
is it all used? No. But they can use it whenever they want to. And to
Correct.
think that when an event takes place, when the power of a country's government is called into question, like Venezuela right now, when a power of that country's government is called into question, or even a more recent and more relevant topic would be Turkey. Germany just blasted Turkey for their foreign minister handing over to his German counterpart a list of people inside of Germany who have spoken out over the internet against the Turkish dictatorship of Erdogan. So they data sifted using Germany's lines all of that information to find people who openly opposed the new dictatorship of Turkey. And they wanted Germany to send them back to Turkey so that they could be put into a black cell and held until they'll see a judge that they'll never know who he is. Held until someone who wants to be judge and executioner sees them. So this is happening all over the world.
Right
It's just
now.
that's right. It's just when will it be used against you? That's the question.
And it's a very pertinent question that we should all be very aware of every day, every time we use a phone or any digital device of any type. You don't even have to use a digital device. I mean, they have smart lamp posts and cameras at every intersection and cameras on every street corner and they're everywhere. So your face is, wherever you move. And if you use digital dollars, in the form of a debit card or a credit card, they can literally track every step you make,
And we
along with every word that you speak. Well, that concludes part one of this great interview with Brad. And if you will click the screen in the appropriate spot, it will take you directly to part two, where we will pick up exactly where we left off. Thank you very much.